Any advice and information from this podcast is general only. It has been prepared without taking into account your individual circumstances and needs. Before acting on any advice from this podcast, you should assess and seek advice on whether it is appropriate for your needs, financial situation, and investment objectives.
Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back, Yannick.
Hello, everyone, to our hundreds. No, we're in the millions now, especially after that first episode with Lachlan.
Yes, we've got more with Lachlan Coote. We'll be going into a bit more about maybe what the local market's doing, what advice he'd give to potential young home buyers. So we'll dive right in.
So just being able to sort of relax, kick back with the family, take a bit of time off, do some travelling, get back to home. We went back to Sydney first for about a month, caught up with everyone there in Sydney, come back to Townsville and again, we had our property here in Townsville, which I'm really happy I held on to because it would have been 2018 we left, and I think that was the bottom of the market. So
it was, okay. And I take it you moved to the UK, you were renting that out?
Yeah, rental over there. So everything was, rented car, everything. So, which was good. We didn't have to pay anything. So, and while we were over there as well, all the three properties that I had were all rented out. So
Handy. Okay.
We were just getting income as well from that, which was great. Obviously had a bit of a loan on two of them, but it's all worked out well and the prices have gone. So we made that transition. We come back here, and then I was still umming and ahhing what I was going to do job wise, whether I was going into the footy coaching side of things, the wellbeing space, or doing something completely different in terms of real estate. So I tried to cover all bases in terms of I started my real estate license over in the UK just as I was coming to my retirement. Yep. So ticked that off within 6 months, and then I was like, I'm still umming and ahhing what I was going to do. So I really liked the coaching side of things. I enjoyed, talking with the young players, like I mentioned before, developing young players, and then talking footy as well, which has always been a big part of my life. But I just felt it was fitting to be able, because we moved around so much from Sydney to Townsville, then overseas, and then we moved again from St Helens to the other side, from the west coast to the south coast.
Okay.
So west-east,
I
should say, of the country, of England. And then, it was hard to watch the kids move away school to school, sports team to sports team. It really affected them in a way. I know that builds resilience and they're going to be better for it, but I just found it really hard to do. And when we moved back to Townsville, we decided to make the decision to move here, spend some time with Laura's mum and dad, obviously, because they lived up here now. They were still living here. And then let the kids get settled in sports, school, and then potentially go through, primary school, high school, and then we can stay. So my job focus was around that. I was like, what job can I do to make sure I stay in a town where I can be here for the next 10 years or so? So I was like, stuff it. I had the confidence through all that self-development stuff to be able to, let's just go into real estate. I've got my license. Let's go suss out a few different real estate agents. And like you said, slick hair, suit, glasses, nice cars. I didn't see myself as that at all, which I found really hard to sort of get my head around. And I sussed out a few different ones, which there was definitely some that I met with. And I was like, damn it, what am I going to do here? And then a mate of mine who actually sold me my house when I first moved to Townsville, I won't say his name because I don't want to give him the advertising.
No.
Very wise.
Wait, the phone's blowing up. I think he just sent you a message.
So he tipped me into Gavin McCullough at Northern Realty. And as soon as I met Gavin, we hit it off from the get-go. He was just a genuine, down-to-earth country lad who, has been in the game for 10 years and not the over-the-top salesy type person, just genuine, open, honest. He's from the Burdekin. So, country dude, into his cattle, loves his cattle, loves rural, sort of selling real farms and stuff like that. Not too far out.
I know what you mean.
But, he was awesome. Legend of a dude. It wasn't over the top of, like, dressing up. He wears boots and jeans and sort of similar kit to what you're in. So
sort of, it suits the. It's definitely not the same dress code as say like your Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne,
it's
especially
very
as
different.
Advisors. I'll be honest. I'm flat out wearing this at work. So if it was footy shorts and a singlet, I'd probably get away with it. The wife would slap me up before work, but the girls keep me in check at the office. But that's interesting to know. Like you've done your real estate license or your agent license, and you've come back to Townsville, and you've got these options because there's a lot of the, I guess I'm going to call them not brands, but there's some big real estate companies up here like your Ray White and your McGrath, which have a national kind of reach, and for a young, well, you would have been saying your 30s, but for an upcoming agent, you're like, that's a well-known brand. Ray White's known all over Australia. Might have been easier to sort of potentially go with them, as you mentioned, because they might, not that they did, but some agents might portray that kind of, hey, this is going to be your lifestyle, the haircuts and the cars. But it's interesting you've gone with Northern Realty, and I dare say, it sounds like, and look, we had to heavily screen you before inviting us on our massive Joe Rogan-esque podcast.
So we have so many guests,
but I've known a few people that have interacted with Northern Realty and yourself, and it's been a pretty good work because it's not always the case with agents. As I mentioned, there's sometimes that stereotype there of, which is really good to know, especially for the people of Townsville.
Definitely, yeah. And it's hard, especially just doing cold calls. People don't want to talk to you as a real estate agent because they do have that persona of, being I don't want to be too honest, but but just being that dishonest person, I guess, and only wanting the business because it pays their commission. And that's not why I got into real estate at all. I got into real estate because I love meeting new people. I love talking to people. I love hearing their stories. And if I can help them out to be well off financially, then what a bonus that is. So. And when I met Gavin, I felt that come across. He had similar values. He had a good family. He's got 2 kids. His work environment is based around making sure everyone feels like family. He's got time for everyone. And when the work experience I'd done with him, people would just come into his office just to have a chat. And no matter how busy he was always there to be able to just give them time and give them a moment. And then, they were on their way, and then he'd get stuck back into it. And he's like that with the girls, with the property management side of things. If they ever need advice or help with anything, he's always there to have a chat with them. And then with me as well, I didn't even know how to turn the computer on, and now he's stuck with me for for a year and a half, and things have been going well. So
you've definitely, especially for me, maybe Jessie and probably everyone that's listening, you've definitely debunked what all agents look and feel and act like. To hear that, as you mentioned with him, he gives numerous people time of the day. It's not all about, hey, if I'm going to talk to this person, I possibly could get a sale. It's about sort of helping, whether it's someone he's known loosely, someone who's coming to the office, helping out the rest of the Northern Realty team. And have they helped you a fair bit, I guess? Because yes, you did your real estate license, you learn a bit, but I guess the on-job experience is where you really learn all the extra bits.
Definitely. The real estate license is it's good and it teaches you stuff, but you got 6 months to do it. So you sort of you're ticking through it. You're just flying through it. And with me, I wasn't the best academically, so nothing really stuck. And I'll put it down to maybe the concussions. I'll blame that. But as a professional athlete, we learn by doing, not sitting down, listening and writing things out. And since then, just being on the job has taught me so much more. Even just the communication, the relationships that you build, and how you come across in terms of what you're going to do for the client and what you offer, those kinds of things, the negotiation side of things. And I've had to talk with Gavin constantly, nearly every day, asking him questions. What's this? How, can you help me in this situation? Can I? And then even just getting used to the market at the moment, the market's not turning. It's just easing. It's slowing.
Okay, and you guys are seeing that from your end.
We're seeing it from our end, and it's not the fact that we're crashing. It's just due to the days on market are going up because of the prices have jumped so high. Potentially buyers are getting a little bit gun shy to be like, okay, if I'm going to spend this money, I want to make sure everything's right. And then do my due diligence and make sure I look into things. Whereas 6 months ago, people were a little bit desperate and they were just jumping and throwing offers in that, were were way higher than what the asking price was, because they had to, because there was other offers there, because of the demand was there.
Yeah.
So now that the market is slowing a bit, I'm getting used to that negotiate, where I didn't really have to negotiate much.
Yep.
It was just like there's prices coming in, they're flying in, they're going in. I just had to make sure I found the best buyer that was going to get them over the line and go unconditional and get the property settled.
Yep.
Because there was a lot of properties falling through due to finance. So I had to, we had to suss out who was the best buyer. But now it's like, it's a little bit quiet. There's not as many inquiries coming in. The days on market are creeping up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The prices we're still overachieving in terms of prices.
Yep.
But just the competition, the demand has sort of slowly steadied a little bit. And that could be reasons around what's going on in the world. People are a bit gun shy. The financial year is coming to the end, so people are getting their finances in order. And then generally with Townsville, from the advice that my boss, Gavin, said, usually going into spring is when the market goes again.
Okay.
So our best selling times are coming into the springtime, and that's when it starts to go again. So
can I ask, because we have a lot of younger demographic come and see us and they're, trying to get into the market in Townsville or wherever. Do you have any advice for them when, they're applying for properties, it has been a hot market and people are outbidding them by, like 100,000 over the market price? Like, do you have any advice for those type of?
I would just, and it has been hard because first home buyers' budgets, generally aren't big, right?
Yep.
And then the fact that they look at that, they don't want to go into 700,000 worth of debt it's a fair jump to be a first home buyer and a commitment. I remember when I bought my first house, I didn't want to spend over 400,000. I was like, "There's no way I'm spending over 400,000. I'm not having that. I'm not having that to pay off." And that's why I ended up buying a property around under 400,000. So, but if I did, 10 years time, I would have been probably better off if I just spent that extra 50,000. But with first home buyers at the moment, just branch out to as many real estate agents as you can. Mm-hmm. Give them your information, your budget, keep it sort of brief in terms of bedrooms.
What you're after,
really, like, and don't go into terms of a pool, solar. I want stone bench tops, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's probably hard to be a little bit picky if you're a first home buyer. Yep. It's just about trying to branch out to as many real estate agents as you can. Send them your details. I know you get a lot of emails, but make sure you're the first one there. And don't do the inquiry, but don't work heavily on that. Like, make sure you call the agent up, have a conversation with them, get them to get you through the property as quick as you can, because things are moving quick. And that would be my advice. And I guess if you lose out on the property because it's out past your budget, hopefully you've got in quick enough before it's, before other people have acted. So then you can maybe potentially get it for a good price or within your budget. But I'd just say you'd have to move with speed. And I know that everyone's busy and they've got their jobs. But if you're actively looking and you're pre-approved, that's another thing. Make sure you are pre-approved.
Do you have to show any proof on that? Like, I'm not going to say I have or haven't used that sentence of like the agent's like, "Hey, what's your finance like? Pre-approved?" Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's all sorted. Like, because I guess you're trying to do the due diligence for the seller, but as well as bring a buyer in to complete, I guess, the perfect negotiation, if that makes sense. But how do you, do people have to prove to you? I guess it's just you take it. You take it for word.
Hopefully
it doesn't hurt you on the back end because, as you mentioned, a heap have fallen through due to finance. So they might have gone, I've got pre-approved, but then the contract's there and then their finance has fallen through and they've essentially stuffed, say, you around, but also the seller.
The seller, they
might have lost 2 weeks, 4 weeks in the contract.
100%, yeah. And then you lose the other buyers that were on the property as well. Hopefully you can go back and call them up and say, it's fallen through, how are you? How are you sitting? Are you still looking? Hopefully they say yes, but if generally they're usually picked up something by then within that
especially if it's a couple
2
of
weeks. Yeah.
That's
but
does that happen a bit?
It's happened. Yeah, it's happened a fair bit. And you almost feel guilty in a way because you're like, I haven't picked the right buyer, or I haven't got the right buyer. But you can only go by what buyers are giving you and what they've put in the contract as well. So if they say they're pre-approved and they need a finance clause and building and pest clause and stuff, you've got to put that in. So yeah, it is difficult, but it happens on a regular basis, and you've just got to make sure as an agent that you've got your buyers lined up. Also, you want to keep tipping them up, yes, to other buyers to say, yes, we've got it under contract, but it's down to a finance clause and we've got a building and pests. There's a lot of things that could fall over, so be ready. I'll give you a call when that period of going unconditional is. After that, whether it's settled or whether it's not.
That's you go.
No, I was just going to ask because, you were saying you're sleeping in your footy boots kind of as a kid. It sounded like you're a bit obsessed with footy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
How do you plan to kind of, use maybe that obsession with footy and all the tips and tricks and stuff you learned in your professional career as an athlete? How do you plan to use that?
Yeah, well, I think, getting into real estate is you definitely have to do your own training to make sure you get better. You can't sit back and relax and think that people are going to call you, which I'm finding. And with with rugby league, you get out what you put in. So if you're training, doing all the extras, you're making sure your body's right, good to go, come game time, you're fully recovered, and your headspace is right and you feel like you've ticked off all the boxes, then generally you're going to perform better on the weekend. You might have and another thing with rugby league is reacting to negative situations, like the amount of times you make errors and stuff things up, or you might get the ick in terms of jumping for a high ball and then you drop a couple and then next week you're still doing the same thing, so your confidence goes a little bit. It's the same environment within real estate. You lose a listing and you start second guessing yourself straight away, and you're like, what do I need to make sure I work on? Is it my presentation? Is it my talking? Is it my fees? Is it the marketing fees? Start stripping things back, keeping it simple. It's obviously never and that's another thing I'm big on. I never blame the person or get angry at them for not choosing me as an agent, because, at the end of the day, I was part of a team, and it was always based around, look at yourself. How can I be better? How can I make that person better? And then I've took all those little traits into real estate, and know that, if you do the training and you put in the work, make your cold calls, put yourself in front of people, the more things are going to happen. And then the more experience you get, and take every loss as a lesson, and then make sure you just keep getting better at time.
The insight you've provided there is something I don't think I've really heard from. Like, one of my best mates is an agent. He's a sleaze, no. No, he's really good. He was in Sydney, now he's in Brisbane. But the insight you've given there, just, I guess with me it resonates because I've met a heap of agents. I've bought a couple of houses, sold a couple. And it seems that the background that you've experienced as a professional athlete sort of, I'm not going to say started from the very bottom, but kind of in a sense you've had this heap of life experience, not just, and look, it might not be 20 years of selling houses, but all those bits of like professional and business and personal life experiences and lessons and self-education, they seem like they're going to add so much to your real estate career. Because I don't know that many agents, but sometimes I feel, look, they might be 20, 25, 30. They might have, worked at Woolies, been a teacher, been a Boilermaker or whatever. But all those hard lessons you've had under like intense pressure, I can see how they'll resonate and sort of flesh out when you're dealing with something that's quite complex. If you're trying to sort of get a buyer and a seller to meet or whatever, I can see that as a massive advantage. Look, it's an old adage, but the whole, a diamond is sort of forged under intense pressure and heat and stuff. Not to say that's the case, but it's you've definitely got some.
Well, that's when you say that, that's what I struggled with that transition. And I don't know why, because a lot of players were telling me that you'll be okay in your transition, like a lot of retired players. have told me, mate, you'll find what you've learnt from rugby league will transition into your day-to-day performance, and you'll be well above everyone else who hasn't been a part of a professional athlete. And they kept people can tell you stuff, but you don't believe things until you actually experience it. And those traits, what you've just said, have definitely transferred into it. Like I feel, and now I look back at those things in terms of reading and writing, have helped my communication. Because I haven't been able to be really good academically, I've always used my words to try and communicate with people, to try and get across to people, understand people more, have a bit of empathy for them. And all those little things that I look back on now that I struggled with have definitely made me who I am today, and helped me. Like I feel like I haven't started from the bottom at real estate. In terms of the execution, in terms of contracts, Form 6s and the computer side of things and emails, yes, I might not be as good as that or, quick on the emails and computers. But when you look into real estate, it's all about building good connections, making sure that you deliver a good result for your vendor, and the communication is key. Like, you might not get the result that you've planned out for because, the activity in the market has steadied a little bit. So we've had to settle for less money. But if you communicate that and give them a good understanding of what's going on in the market, give them some hard evidence so they understand what's going on.
Education.
Which
a lot of people need. We do the same, very similar,
And if people can see the data and everything, and you're communicating that on a day-to-day basis, then, they're okay. They feel comfortable knowing that your best interest is with the client. And that's all those traits that I thought I was bad at are starting to come out now in the real estate game, to know that, I'm all right. I'm actually ahead of the game, really.
So all those soft skills you learned that you probably sucked learning at the time, oh man, whether it's negative press, pressures of sport, contract pressures, injury pressures, but they've all built these brick by brick bits of resilience that you're, and just different ways of overcoming adversity and getting through, I guess, little complex kind of problems. That's because just what you sort of mentioned there, it's not really, again, it seems with you, it's not really like the sale. It's more of like the education piece, helping clients out, which is, again, maybe I've got the wrong portrayal of agents, but like for a majority of them, the ones I've experienced.
And that's why I think you can justify the commission. And I know now what's happening. There's a lot of agents getting into the market, and I didn't just get into there's a lot of agents getting into the market because the market is well and it's going well. But I didn't get into the real estate game because the market's going well. I got into it to be here long term, to make sure I'm providing a good service. But that's why when it comes down to commission, agents are dropping their commission because that's all the value they can give. Whereas I stick firm on my commission because I know that I'm confident in my ability to be able to, I've got your best interests at heart, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I know the market well, I study it well, I talk to you about the most recent sales, so you've got a good understanding of it, the size of the rooms, the floor plans. I look into all that data to make sure that we're making sure that we're on the market for a great price, and we can justify our price and we can stand firm by it. Whereas, other agents might not do that. They might not do the research. They might not have the knowledge. They might just say, oh, this one sold for that much, let's just put it on for there. And then buyers are smart these days. They've got all the knowledge. They've got realestate.com. They've got domain.
The intent's
they've got all the portals. They've got everyone's social media pages. They know what the market and what properties are worth. So you can't get away with much anymore. So you need to make sure that you've got a great understanding of what's around. And then when a buyer comes in to negotiate with you, you're on top because you already know everything. You've got the knowledge. So, and that's sort of justifying your commission or your sales fee is what we call it. So I know that, there is a lot of people out there and agents and people opt to go with them because they don't want to spend the money or they can't justify it. But, make sure you've got that agent that is going to dive in deep for you, who has a good knowledge of the market and has got your best interests at heart, and they're not just after a quick sale because they have dropped their commission.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an unreal insight.
Yeah.
I'll pretty much, I'm 40 years old, and now I'm only going to I'm going to shed a positive light on all the agents out there.
Oh, you
Usually when I'm
turned
chatting
him,
to-
Lachlan.
Thanks,
Yeah.
mate.
Usually
Thanks.
when I'm chatting to clients about their investment property, they got sold it by some development company or an agent and we're going through the numbers, and like, another one that's bitten the dust because the agent sold them this grandeur plan, and then you're like, look, but that's a really good insight. That's and I suppose like you've been with Northern Realty up here for a little bit. How's I guess has the community responded pretty well to yourself being an agent? Like no doubt, especially in the Townsville area, majority of people would sort of pick you out and go, "Hey, I know that guy." Yeah, but like and I guess I presume that would have helped, but I guess I haven't met that many professional athletes. Sometimes you might meet them and go, especially as an agent, you're like, well, is he an ex-athlete that's moonlighting as an agent? Or yes, he's an ex-athlete, but oh shit, he's actually very knowledgeable. And you come across that sort of way anyway, yeah.
Well, I hope so. That was the plan based around, I know probably obviously from the start, from when I was in the real estate game, people would have been judgy. Oh, geez, he was a good footy player, but he's a shit agent.
Yep.
Excuse my language.
No, let it out.
But I went into to becoming an agent to make sure that oh yes, he was a decent footy player, but he's a really good agent. Make sure you get in touch with him, or he's going to do the right things by you. He's very knowledgeable, and understands the game. But I hate losing as well. Like I'm very hard on myself with things. Like if I feel like I've missed out on something, I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. Or and we're only human. We all make mistakes, and we learn from those things. But some people don't learn from them, and they shift the blame into.
It's easy to do so, isn't it?
It is easy to do, easy to get away with. But honestly, you put your hand up, and that's what I've learned from rugby league. There's no hiding. You're on show to everyone, and I always base my footy around being the player that people want to play with.
Yeah, wow.
Or play next to.
Yep.
And that was my philosophy. I wasn't based around the highlights package or anything like that.
Yep.
Probably because I didn't have it in me.
Yeah.
I was no Matty Bowen highlights reel, but
mind you, the resume speaks for itself. So
And I guess just basing my game around effort, and that's all I've been about. I've never been the biggest. I've never been the fastest, but it was always based around effort, and that's definitely transitioning into the real estate game as well.
That's again, that's another insight. I'm just learning so much today. At 40 years old, I definitely don't know everything, but what you've highlighted there again sort of shows, because eventually, as you mentioned, no market will continue on an upward trajectory, whether it's real estate, share market, managed funds, whatever. There's going to be a period where it's going to plateau, and then it's going to be really stagnant, which, as you said, I think was like 18, 19. I've been in Townsville about 20 years or so. There were periods where you couldn't sell a house for a dirty paper rag kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those qualities you mentioned are probably going to keep you in there helping people out, while those other agents you mentioned that sort of lowered their commission or are just there for the quick dollar that haven't or aren't willing to go through that grind of maybe a listing that sits there for 30, 60, 90 days, that's probably what's going to help you sort of float to the top. That whole cream adage of sort of floating to the top kind of thing, because the market will get tough, whether it's, I don't know, as you said, it might be slowing down now, but whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, it will eventually the real estate market will stagnate, and people will have their house sitting there for a month or two, and they'll be like, Lachlan, why haven't I sold my house? You're going to have to manage expectations. A lot of agents, I know I'm very confident a lot of them will not be able to do that.
No.
They won't be able to hang in tough with their listing or their client or their seller and go, hey, well, look, this is sort of, here's the information, here's the data. I'm not just giving you my word that the market's going shy-star. Here's some evidence to back it up.
Yeah.
And, you'll be there to sort of, I guess for us, we sort of use the term holding clients' hands. Yeah. Because say with investment-wise, whether it's super or an investment, we set them up with things, we educate them, because eventually the market you're going to get, because everyone's got the news now on their phones.
Yeah.
Literally a couple of months ago was the whole Trump tariff thing. So when that emerged,
I was doing the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, like you mentioned
Yeah.
with your planner, and we're churning out a few emails, taking a heap of calls, because even though we coach our clients, we're there for them. Even when that happens on the news during the appointment, like, yeah, no, I'll be sweet. I understand long term. Yep.
Yeah.
And then like the 10% sort of shift in the market a couple of months ago, heaps of clients were like, "What's going on with my money?"
Yeah.
Like, just hey, and we're there to sort of hold them. I can imagine an agent would be the same thing. Like, yes, this is a tough period, and,
Yep.
and you're there to sort of, I guess, strategize and just try and
Yeah.
execute. That's
And giving them an understanding of like, you know, some agents might go, "Oh, I'm going to sell your house in 3 weeks."
Yeah.
You know, like, but giving them an open understanding of like, you know, your house could sell in 2 weeks' time, or it might take 4 weeks' time.
Yep.
And just making sure you understand where the market is, and giving those understandings and those openings to realise, okay, we've discussed this, it's going down that path. All right, it's okay. We're seeing a bit of action. We've got some buyers there, or we're not seeing as much action as we thought. So we might have to, you know, play around with the price to stimulate a bit of action. Things like those definitely help people understand, and not just going in there and saying, okay, being confident in your price and your approach, but giving them an understanding that, you know, this could happen. There's things that, you know, can happen in the market, and buyers, you know, might not react to your property. But as long as, and another thing is giving them advice to making sure what's going to get them the best result is like bit of paint, making sure your lawns are good. A lawn sells property. If your lawn's good and nice and your gardens are presented well, it's all about that first impression. So
what's the first thing you see is that you do a drive-by, you see letterbox, front door and lawn at the front, or facade.
And that's what we're seeing now in the market. Like 6 months ago, you could get away without doing nothing to your property because there was that demand there. You didn't have to spend the money on it. But now buyers are being more picky, and the house that presents the best and they can 100%. Move in and not do anything, then that's where you're getting your money. So I'm finding it now, it's more important to make sure you invest a little bit of money to make sure it's presented really well, to make sure you stand out to the other properties around you, because essentially your property is competing with every other property on the market, especially within your price range. So if you can have people walk in and not do nothing to the property, then they're gonna pay the money for it.
Yeah, you've sort of been like, you've bought a house. I know I've experienced that. We've been to some open homes where you're just like, what, have they even cleaned it? My wife's very, very particular on if it's dirty or clean. Nah, even though it like could be a mansion, she's like, nah, there's a speck of dust. But no, I understand what you mean. I guess appearance and presentation is at the forefront with that one. That's really, I don't know, maybe we should write a book about this. Like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this on the podcast. I don't know. Like, that's wow.
Have to be an audio book. Not many people read these days, eh?
Look, a couple more questions, if I may. So you mentioned your first property investment you lived in Western Sydney. Like, was there sort of one key thing you learned from it at the time? I think I touched on it a little bit now. So, before, about being a positively geared property, and at the moment, when the interest rates went through the roof, and now, you know, property prices are going through the roof. There's rent restrictions, obviously, so you can't obviously raise the rent over the 12-month period or within the 12-month period. So all those are coming into play, and it's getting very hard to find a positively geared property. Is that a state law that's come in? Is that right, or is that the whole rent rise thing?
I think it's it's definitely state, but it's also in New South Wales as well. For what I know, I don't know, I understand it because I've got the investment properties down in Sydney. So it's definitely capped within 12 months. So you can only raise it every 12 months. And now that's come into play here as well.
Okay.
It's been here for a little while now. But so hard to find a positively geared, but with my investments and stuff, looking towards positively geared properties is probably what I've learnt now. And like I said, I fell into property investing purely because I had a high income. And now I'm seeing the benefits from it. Holding long term, obviously real estate is another good lesson. Don't just jump in and then jump out, because you know you got your stamp duty, your sales costs,
The hidden costs we talked about,
the hidden
Jessie.
costs, yeah.
Yeah, all the hidden ones.
All those things that come into play. You got your capital gains tax. And yeah, more often than not, probably my next step now is probably utilising that equity. But now I'm in a stage where I'm transitioning my income again. So I've started from the bottom and now I'm slowly building it up. That was the plan, to try and make sure I can build the income up to be able to invest again or capitalise in that equity.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously not paying tax on the equity that you use from your
At the
properties.
time,
unless it goes into something personal. Is that right? I'm pretty sure that's right, is it?
Like equity, are you talking about sort of if you invest again into a property?
Yeah, so if I use my equity on my house now and buy another property with it,
Correct.
I don't pay capital gains tax on that.
At the time, yeah. So you can, you mentioned let's say your first place in Penrith, 400 grand, let's say it's worth $1 million now. That's not definitely out of the realms. There's a heap of equity in there that the bank will see, and they'll let you use to, instead of using cash, let's just say you want to buy a property for, I don't know, it's worth $800,000. You need 20% deposit. That's 160 grand. A lot of people don't have that cash to do that deposit to get out of their loan, like their lender's mortgage insurance. You can use that equity in one of your properties, like your Sydney one, to sort of bankroll that. And you're kind of using it, there's no capital gains sting. It has helped a lot of people, especially the last 2 years, especially in Townsville. Everyone's equity has really increased. But where some people have found out the hard way is it's a notional amount. Let's just say you do that, you use the equity, you buy another property, and then you sell that property in several years. You'll pay some capital gains. You've then got to pay essentially that equity back. It's kind of like this amount that has to come from somewhere.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
so it's almost like another loan. You
Correct.
Loan, but you obviously, like instead of selling the property, paying the capital gains, and then buying another property, you're obviously using that equity just to move on and not pay the capital gains tax. So
and the bank is seeing it just as a security factor. Because at the end of the day, the banks take the risk. People whinge about interest rates and stuff. Sure, they're an evil necessity, because if you want to go out and buy that $1 million place, which is, especially down Sydney way, that'll get you, I guess, a regular family home.
Yeah.
And we're not going to, well, we can talk about later differences in markets, say Townsville and Western Sydney, but it just lets you purchase another asset without having to come up with that big lump of cash there, which comes with additional bonuses. And, there's a couple of, you've just got to strategize around it.
Yeah, definitely. And they're the things that probably lessons that I've learnt from the question that you asked is, like looking into that things, but definitely doing the research, reading some books, listening to podcasts. They definitely help, because what's the mindset around being a lifelong learner, pretty much. And I was in that mindset before I retired, thinking that I knew everything, but I was probably just in denial just because I didn't want to learn anything. But since I've gone on that journey of reading, the biggest book that turned around for me was Jim Quick, Limitless. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
I have,
it's a book around learning how to learn, and the brain. He was like the boy without a brain or something like that along the lines. I don't know if I've got it correct, but reading that book helped me understand that, I can achieve anything, I can learn anything if I put my mind to it and I'm interested in it. And I think school probably ruins that mindset for a lot of people, because, you do all these classes that you're not really interested in and you fail in them. So you think, maybe I can't learn anything, or I'm not good at anything.
Maybe I'm not smart.
And maybe I'm not smart. Yeah, you have that mindset and you go down that mindset. But reading that book definitely helped me, opened up my mind to becoming a long life learner. So just the more you learn, the more you find out, and it's actually satisfying and relaxing to go, like just finding out new things about yourself and understanding yourself a little bit more as well is really fascinating. And hearing the journey that you're going on and the things that you're doing. If you learn something from a professional book or something like that, that reinforces that you're doing the right thing and you're heading in the right direction. So it's a really good feeling to know that, I do need to exercise every morning. oh yeah, not everyone feels comfortable waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning. Like, that's hard to do. But if you do it, it puts you in a good mindset, get you going, get you moving forward. All those things that has helped me with. So,
well, I'm looking for a life coach at the moment. If you're, whenever you're not doing your listings and stuff, yeah, I'm good at the finance side, but no, that's an unreal insight. So, just I think you've got one or two more questions, a couple on the lighter note. That's
we want to know: do you give discounts to Cowboys players, ex-Cowboys players?
Or even teammates? That's on a serious level.
Like in terms of selling for them, or I'd just be happy to sell one of their properties. But no, like in terms of my commission stuff, like I really stick firm on my commission, and I feel as if for what we do and what we deliver and our standards that we give, I feel like we can justify that price. And then I feel like if I do negotiate it, then it's a disservice to all my clients that I've served before.
Valid point. That's good to know.
Yeah.
It's very good to know. It's good to know you didn't tap dance around it. I guess some agents are like, oh, look, can we talk about this later? Like, that's...
And with Cowboys, they're on good coin, so they can afford it.
They're right, yeah.
So just to do the whole... change the media perspective. So what you're saying is you won't give discounts to Cowboys teammates, but you said you'd give discounts to your Penrith teammates. Is that right? Mate, that's called double standards. It's unacceptable. No, that's right.
Well, if they're ringing me all the way from down there to sell their house, maybe I could give them a discount.
Hey, good agents are good agents. Sometimes they're hard to find. Sometimes you might have to reach across the country to,
to get one.
I guess for us it's a bit different. We've got clients up and down the countryside, even overseas. But for an agent like yourself, I can see how your specific subject matter knowledge in Townsville would come to the fore. But hey, if someone from Penrith is reaching out, that's a good thing. Well, you live there, you grew up there, so
definitely,
you live there. Sorry, so
he'd live there. Yeah,
that's okay. And I guess look, a little bit of a lighter one. You have outlined it a fair bit, but so far so good on the post-professional athlete career. Like, yep, no doubt there's been some trials, tribulations. There's been some bad moments, some good moments, but so far so good. Yeah.
So far so good, and I'm very happy with what I've done to be able to. And not that I don't resent rugby league at all. Like, rugby league gave me everything, and I love it. I still love it. I watch it. I don't watch it much anymore, but when it's on the screen, you can't get my eyes off it. So I love the game. I love what the athletes do to their bodies and what they put themselves through. I respect that a lot. And realising that now since I've retired, even more so, like it's at the end of the day, it's a crazy sport to what we put ourselves through and what they're doing now to, put themselves through, to be able to play for 16 years. It's very, very tough on your body.
It's an incredible feat. At the highest level too, like at the, because there's some park footy players out there. Shout out to all them. I'm probably one of the worst ones of them, but but for you to play at the 0.1% of a high impact sport, this nothing against other sports, whether it's golf, lawn bowls, hockey, but
and it's and I definitely didn't have the body for it. Like,
no, you're not.
At my heaviest, I was 85 kilos playing.
Wow,
and I'm playing against blokes like
$120,
120, 130 kilos. So
and agile,
and a fast like Jason Taumalolo, for example. Like, it's just unfair that he gets to be that big and that fast and that agile. So
are you blaming your parents for your skinny white kid genes?
No, I'll never regret anything. But it's just I appreciate for what they do now, and it has worked out. And like I was saying, I don't resent footy or anything anyway. I'm just so glad and comfortable and grateful that I've gone down this adventure.
Yep.
And I guess be an example to make people or any professional athlete realise that they can do anything post their career, and whatever they've learnt can be transferable into everyday life. And, we're ahead of the game already just by learning those small disciplines, I guess I'd say, through being a professional athlete. So very comfortable with how things have panned out and enjoying myself.
Unreal. That's
amazing.
What an insight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that switch careers or leaving defence or, professional athletes. So it's really good to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think more people are doing it these days now, changing careers and stuff, which is good to see. I think people limit themselves and that fear of looking into the future of something different and change can be really scary and
it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's hard for a lot of people, but know that you're capable of more than what you think you are, and that's what I've taught myself, really, I guess, having an like that I can do something different, and even whether real estate's forever as well, like whether I'm an agent forever, but at least I know now that I can move into anything that I go, whatever path I go down next, I can change.
We'll keep an eye out. You might just start doing whether it's sports coaching, mind mentoring, youth, up and coming professional athletes, real estate on the side.
So many opportunities.
There might not be. Look, if you're looking for a financial advising career, I don't know. We'll see what we can do. No, it's,
I'll recommend you guys anyway. Financial planning.
Oh, watch out. Oh, Jesse. Anyway, yeah. I'm more here for the podcasting that's taken off. So it's sounds like you're making your own Lachlan, which is unreal. That's look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here on board with us. Whether we do another one, who knows? But by all means, I guess a bit of a shout out, especially for Northern Realty, and it looks like what they're bringing in the local real estate side of things. My perspective's definitely changed.
Me too.
It's good to get a deeper insight into, like I say, Northern Realty and sort of what that small business is, and yourself, like that agent perspective. But it seems like your perspective is quite different to my perception of agents, which is probably a good thing. I'm going to probably call my good mate in Brisbane and say, hey, pull your socks up, change your attitude. Otherwise you're off the Christmas list. But that's unreal, Lachlan. Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and it was it's a good chat.
Yeah.
That's all right. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you or hear from us sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Ciao.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.